back, guys, to a session of X-Plane. We're going to do this one voiced, and we're going to do a full-on engine startup by the book. So let's see here. We get a pre-flight inspection complete. Seatbelts are adjusted. Field selector valve is on both. Circuit breakers are all in. There's nothing on. Lights up. Nothing that lights up. So circuit breakers are all in. Avionics and radios are off. Brakes are set. And we go mixture rich. Primer. We want 3 and a 4th. That's 3. And leave it open at 1/4. Somewhere around there. We want master on. And beacon on. From here we are clear to engage. And let's get those revolutions to 1000 RPM. We went a little overboard. Let's see. Right around there. 1000 RPM. Check. Oil pressure. Oil is green. Yes, check. Oil is to go. Avionics and radios on. They automatically set to the frequencies. Let's adjust here. Looks like we are at 223. 2 and around there. Alright, so we got avionics and radios on frequency. Lights as required. We want landing, taxi, navigation. Lights are check. Doors and windows closed. Brakes are set. Mixture is rich. We want 1,704 RPMs now. Right around there. From here we adjust the mixture until it no longer rises. Alright, the mixture is adjusted. We do a magneto test. Left magneto has a deviation of more than 1000 RPM, returning to both. Let it recover. And right magneto check. Deviation no more than 100 RPM, returning to both. Let it recover. And instruments, we check them in green while at this revolution, while at this RPM. So we got a perimeter charging, suction between 4 and 6, oil pressure, and oil temperature, both in green. Instruments are a go. We reduce power to 1000 RPM, and this is where we would obtain clearance. So let's get 1 point of flaps, and we're good to go. Let's do a takeoff, full throttle. Trim is neutral. A little bit of right rudder beforehand, and releasing brakes. Not enough right rudder. We got instruments still green and airspeed live. At 65 we take off on our own. This thing takes off on its own. Right around there. We got positive ascension, and we want that positive ascension at 500 feet. Let's not go over 1000. Let's go for center of runway, releasing the right rudder. Let's fly into the sunset once we're out of the runway. Most. We're at 300 feet in the air, so flaps up and don't let it descend. We'll release the right rudder so I can get the lights off. We want taxi and landing off. Let's keep that full throttle. Keep it centered. Let's check out that sunset. Let's see if it's still available. It is not. We are going for a night flight. We would not fly over the airport, so let's go around it like a circuit. fighting the plane a little bit, so let's trim up. No more than 1,000 RPM, ideally 500 feet of ascension. plan. Let's do a slow descent. Slow descent procedure is 2,000 RPM. So let's do some RPM, keep that nose neutral, and chase for a wide arc from the airspeed. Nose neutral. Gonna smack one point of flaps once we hit it around 85 knots for a wide arc. And there's that wide arc. Once we hit the flaps, it's not going to descend anymore, so nose down. Let's recover some speed at 2,000. And we want to descend. Let's see how close we are. 6.3 miles in. Let's descend at 500. More than 1,000. Probably kill the throttle here. Looks like we're gonna be too high otherwise. So removing throttle completely. Might need to go around if we don't lower that. Let's go for a full 1,000 feet of descension. 1,000 per minute. One more point of flaps. Let's get that wide arc and 2 points of flaps. Don't let it descend. Start lining up. This is where you start leveling your wings and not move them. You're only going to be using your rudder. Only your pedals here. Do it without throttle, since these things have an aerodynamic shape. They kind of just turn into gliders. There's the first pappy. Let's recover some throttle, some speed. airspeed out. It's windy. Alright, 2 and 2 pappies, that's a good angle of approach. Full throttle out, and let's start to flare a little. Here we are. Butter landing, let's chase the center of runway. Flaps up. Centered runway. Wow, that's windy. Let's start introducing brakes. Here we go. Lock those brakes, and let's do an after landing checklist. We want 1000 RPM so this thing doesn't turn off. Kind of like a motorbike. You want to keep the engine a little hot. Flaps are up. Lights are off. That's what I forgot to do. Landing and taxi before landing. And this is where they would be off. So for complete lights off, we want navigation also. Radios and avionics off. So we would go off here to the left counterclockwise, and off here counterclockwise, and then we switch this off. This at the very end, after all these 3 displays turn off, but in the simulation they just don't shut down for some reason. So mixture will now be off, and we wait for the propellers to stop turning before continuing. Alright, propellers are still, so now we turn off magnetos. Magnetos off, and usually you would pull the key here, but there's no animation for it. Pull the key and just leave it dangling around here. Magnetos off, beacon off, then master off. Beacon doesn't count as a light. It is a light, but you don't consider it as part of the procedure for lights on or off. It's its own and it stays on at the very end. So master off, and field selector, there's no option for off, so there's left, right, and both. We just leave it on both. So that'll be the procedure after landing, on how to turn off this thing. And you don't do it on the runway. You would be taxiing towards hangars, and you do this at the hangars. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and hope to see you on the next session.